Hello, you're watching France 24. This is Eye on Africa, and I'm Vedika Bahel. Here's the top stories from across the continent. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the fatal Ebola outbreak is worsening, according to the World Health Organization. More than 90% of known cases in the country are in conflict-racked Ituri province, where healthcare workers say they're struggling to cope. We bring you the latest from our correspondent. More than 1,000 civilians have been killed in drone strikes in Sudan in the last 5 months of 2026. The United Nations says it's seen an uptick in the unmanned aerial vehicles, making the war even deadlier for civilians. This as the conflict has led to the world's largest humanitarian crisis, with 2/3 of the country needing assistance. And we'll take you to the heart of contemporary African fashion, which is now taking centre stage. This week saw the start of Africa Now at iconic Parisian department store Galeries Lafayette, a major pop-up showcasing several brands from the continent and celebrating African creativity. Thank you for joining us here on Eye on Africa. We'll be starting this bulletin in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the World Health Organization warned Friday that despite its efforts to catch up, the fatal Ebola outbreak is accelerating rapidly. The latest figures, according to the global health body, declared 896 confirmed cases in the country with 232 deaths. Bunia, the capital of Ituri province in eastern DRC, is the area hardest hit by the Ebola outbreak, with 90% of the country's known cases concentrated there. And on the front lines, healthcare workers are struggling. This report by Aurélie Bazara Kibangula, Paula Seville and Joachim Jotham Pitua.
Coveralls, gloves, and masks. This team is preparing to disinfect a clinic in Bunia, where 5 patients with Ebola were treated.
We'll start with the green zone, then the red zone.
Since the cases were detected, the clinic has closed its doors. To prevent the virus from spreading, every surface is carefully sprayed with chlorine water. Healthcare workers say they feel abandoned. The clinic is not equipped to deal with the epidemic.
Since we're facing this epidemic empty-handed, we have no resources to protect ourselves as healthcare workers. As a result, we're very afraid of losing our lives, just as we lost one of our colleagues.
Healthcare workers are the first to be exposed to the virus. Every day, they receive suspected cases before they are transferred to Ebola treatment centers. For many families, the outbreak has already taken its toll. Gracia is still mourning her aunt, a nurse who died from the disease.
She grew up with us. She was like an older sister to me.
With eyes reddened by tears, she denounces the lack of support provided to medical staff.
She told me she was treating many patients from Mongwalu. Most of them were dying. She was afraid. She worked without protection, taking blood pressure and temperatures without wearing gloves.
In Bunia, deliveries of masks, gloves, and other protective equipment continue. But on the ground, many believe these supplies fall far short of what's needed. At the Ebola treatment center in Bunia, another family weeps. Inside this body bag lies a midwife who died after contracting the virus. Authorities have not disclosed the exact number of healthcare workers who have died since the outbreak began. Despite their grief, the families refuse to lose hope. The Democratic Republic of the Congo has already faced several Ebola outbreaks. For them, this new battle, too, can be won.
Let's head to Niger next, where analysts believe Islamist armed groups are increasingly targeting cities and urban hubs in Africa's Sahel region as they vie for influence and territory. This comes as the al-Qaeda-linked Jenin group claimed responsibility for Thursday's attack at Niger's international airports that claimed the lives of 11 people and 2 civilians. Witnesses reported gunfire and explosions tearing through the airport. It's the second attack on the airport in less than 5 months, which is a strategic hub hosting the Nigerian Air Force Base, as well as the headquarters of the Joint Military Forces of Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso. To Sudan now, where according to the United Nations, more than 1,000 civilians have been killed in drone strikes since the beginning of the year. There's been a sharp increase in the use of drone warfare, a tactic marking a turning point in the 3-year war that's created what the UN deems as the world's worst humanitarian crisis. A drone strike last week in the city of El Obeid killed at least 4 people and wounded several others, according to rights groups on the ground. Here's Bastien Hanui with more.
The United Nations confirmed what we had been witnessing since the beginning of the year. There has been an increase in the use of military drones in Sudan. Both the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese army are using these drones. Of course, they're targeting military positions, but they are also targeting civilian positions. Dozens of schools, hospitals, markets, and even houses have been targeted during the past 6 months. Let's mention what's currently happening in El Obeid. It's the capital of North Kordofan. It's under the control of the Sudanese military, but it's surrounded by the Rapid Support Forces. And during the past week, drones have been targeting the city daily. They target civilian neighborhoods, they target funerals. 23 civilians at least were killed and many more were injured. And during the past few days, the Rapid Support Forces have also been targeting petrol stations and other fuel supply infrastructures in order to put more pressure on the city, on civilians, and on the Sudanese military. So why are both sides using drones that much? Well, because they're cheap, first, and also because it's less dangerous to send drones rather than sending men on the ground. And also, they're very useful when it's raining. The rainy season will start soon in Sudan. Usually, it's very difficult for men to fight during the rainy season. And thanks to the drone, there will be no break this year in the war in Sudan.
Next, African fashion is no longer where major fashion houses search for inspiration from. Today, the industry is establishing its own designs, own brands, and developing new goals from the runways at fashion weeks around the world to making its way into major Parisian retailers. For the second year running, historic French department store Galeries Lafayette is turning a special focus to fashion from across the continent to showcase creations celebrating African creativity, local identities, and support emerging designers. Now, to mark the Africa Now pop-up at Galeries Lafayette, we are joined by a key figure from this showcase, Adama Ndiaye, the Senegalese fashion designer behind Adama Paris. Welcome to Eye on Africa. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Now, when you look at your career and everything that it's taken to get to this point as a fashion designer, do you think African fashion is currently at a turning point?
Oh, we've been at a turning point years before, but yeah, it's definitely a momentum, and African fashion is showcasing that we have nothing to be shy about or hiding. And we vibrant, bold, and it's just the start.
So you were one of the key partners in this showcase, this pop-up at Galeries Lafayette, Africa Now, and you were part of the team that selected the designers that are featured in this showcase. How did you make those decisions? How did you choose those designers? Which fashion house?
You know, being a creator in any exhibition is really hard. But my first goal was to showcase fashion that people can wear. Parisian and people, millions of people that come to Galeries Lafayette can wear. So it was more about those who can really sell the Africa that everyone can wear, first of all, and also those who have stocks. You know, it's just like, you know, because we're here for 3 weeks, and it's been 2 days, and it's been overwhelming. People are really coming, and they are into African fashion. So those are the two major things that I was looking for in design, and of course, like creativity and beauty. But that's everywhere in African fashion.
I have heard some people say that they thought 3 weeks was not long enough, that they wanted more time.
It's still not long enough. But you know what? This is the second season, and I think that Galeries Lafayette seeing that Africa is now a key player that they need to work with. So
what does it mean to you to be showcased here at this iconic department store, Paris, one of the fashion capitals of the world? What can people expect from this pop-up?
Bold, bright, beautiful, different, and daring. I think that it just means for us designer that we want to be global. We want to be seen here in Paris, in New York, and we want also customers to be able to come and talk to us, see us. So we at the pop-up most of the time, because we definitely, for myself, I'm never in my shops. So just to be able to just like see our customers and talk to them, and you see the overwhelming support of, you know, the diaspora coming. It's just really.
Do you think
nice.
people will be surprised by what they see?
Oh, definitely. This is Chrissy Brown.
This is Chrissy Brown.
Chrissy Brown from Ghana. Unfortunately, she's sick. She couldn't make it with me. And we have Ibrahim Fernandez from Côte d'Ivoire, and we have Sisters of Africa from Senegal. So it's just different brands that bring the best of Africa and the best of fashion.
So on that note, the term African fashion, we've been using that, well, I've been using that here with you on set. When we talk about African fashion, should we be more specific to the countries we're talking about? Should we say Senegalese fashion, Ghanaian fashion, Ethiopian fashion? Because these are not the same.
I think so. I think that, there's not such a thing as European fashion or, I think that Africa is not a country, it's a continent, and we're so different and beauty. But I think that those differences also make us proud, and we don't have that issue I don't mind people calling African fashion, but when you come to us, when you come closer, we will see you. We will showcase the difference and the little subtle, difference that you can have from Côte d'Ivoire to Senegal or from Senegal to Ghana. And African fashion is like African identity, but it's like African now. It's just they're bold. They speak English. They speak French. They are citizens of the world, and this is the African now. It's not like what Europe or America or the Occident, I don't know how to say that, what people think Africa is. Africa is really something that we live, we are, and it's out there.
And maybe that's the day that will come in the fashion industry, when these individual local designs are credited to the country itself. Maybe that's the day we're looking for in the African fashion space.
I couldn't say it better.
So my next question, in your journey as a fashion designer, how can the industry grow further from across the continent? What is missing to push African designs from across the continent further into this space?
Definitely funding. Government funding or government help or business angel. African fashion need funding, need money in like any industry to grow, to just scale up. Yeah.
And this new generation of consumers that we're seeing now, they are more focused on sustainability, things being green, supporting local artisans, manufacturing, where the fabrics are coming from, how it's made. Is this an opportunity for African designers or a challenge, do you think?
It's both. It is. It just sounds really crazy, but it is both. I think that it's an opportunity because we are like in this time and area that we have access to communication, we have access, and people can really access to us like, never before. And it's a challenge also because, the structure are not really strong enough to carry all and to scale up right away. So we need to keep working, and I've been doing this for 25 years, and with Dakar Fashion and all these platforms, I think that that's the challenge, to try to find really good money and to try to scale, but to do it our own way, in our own terms.
And in 10 years, where would you like to see African brands positioned within the luxury fashion space?
But one thing, luxury and Africa go together, because we've been doing like one pieces, and we've been sustainable for years. So to us, it's not even a discussion. And I think that now there is buyers and like Galeries Lafayette, they see that potential, and I think that it's going to be really huge. It's still. We're growing, but in few years, not even 10 years, we're going to be out there.
And very quickly, my final question. So your designs have been worn by Beyoncé. Can we expect her to show up at this pop-up?
No. Yes, last year she was around, and her mother come and shop twice with Blue Ivy. This year, unfortunately, not. But we have yesterday we had beautiful, amazing Angelique Kidjo. Like, she was amazing. She stayed there. She shopped. She danced with us. So we do have support.
We'll have to keep an eye on whether Beyoncé shows up.
Yeah.
To be seen. Thank you so much, Adama Ndiaye, the founder and designer behind Adama Paris. Thank you so much for joining us here on Eye on Africa. That is all we have time for in this edition. Do stay with us, though, on France 24. There's more world news coming up.
On the Ivorian side, incursions by Burkinabe paramilitary militia, the VDP, happen on a daily basis.
The VDPs have killed many people. They want these border villages to become part of Burkina Faso.
Ivorian security forces are mobilizing.
The High Command put in place a strong deterrent system to prevent any incursions and reassure communities that had begun to feel isolated.
When I was still there, I was so frightened in the days that followed that I couldn't eat or sleep.
Our team got rare access to the border area, alongside the Ivorian army patrols. Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, a border under tension on France 24.